I see that look, the one that doesn't belong anywhere near the ordinary timeline, the one that shifts the very air around you, bending gravity ever so slightly, making the atmosphere pause and hold its breath whenever you move. The way people instinctively lean in or step back around you. It isn't fear, it's recognition. Something ancient stirs when you enter a room, something deep that doesn't obey the usual rules. You, the one reading this right now, with that slight curve of your lips, the almost imperceptible tilt of your head, the way your eyes seem to be everywhere yet nowhere at the same time, taking in everything while revealing absolutely nothing. Yes, I see you. More importantly, they see you. And they don't just see you. They are terrified in ways they don't yet know how to articulate. They've been watching, measuring, studying, cataloging you for months, maybe years, trying to figure out why every conventional law of human interaction collapses around your presence. Every single trained observer you've encountered, agents, interrogators, psychologists, behavioral analysts, every person trained to dissect and decode human movement has walked away with the same unsettled report, whispered between colleagues, scribbled in encrypted logs, filed under unknown anomaly. The same conclusion that shakes them to the core. This person does not conform to the human model. Their frameworks crash when you move. Their algorithms falter. Every expected micro-expression, every habitual gesture, every predictable emotional response is delayed, altered, or absent entirely. Threat assessments become impossible. Their notes are vague, contradictory, jittery. They are not calling you a robot. No, they are whispering a truth far more unsettling. You move like someone who has died and come back. Someone who has seen the world behind the curtain, glimpsed the mechanisms of reality, and stepped out of the game everyone else is still trapped in, without ever realizing they were playing at all. You see, most people don't even know they're performing body language. They don't realize that every blink, every tension in a shoulder, every subtle shift in the tilt of the chin broadcasts their thoughts, their intentions, their truths. But you stopped broadcasting long ago. Not consciously, not as a choice made in a moment of clarity. It simply happened. Somewhere between the betrayal that shattered you and the silence that rebuilt you. Somewhere between the version of yourself that flinched and the version that no longer blinks at the shocks of the world. You evolved. You became unreadable. You became untraceable. And now, the most skilled observers, those trained to dissect human behavior as if it were an open book, find their entire training irrelevant in your presence. Their degrees, their certifications, their countless hours of study all fail to explain the living contradiction you represent. You move in ways they cannot predict. You pause when a pause should not exist. You react when no one else notices. You hold eye contact when instinct dictates they should look away. And you break it precisely when they expect permanence. You are already 3 moves ahead in a game they didn't even know was being played. And the worst part for them is that they have no defense. Every pattern they know, every heuristic they've internalized over decades of observation, fails. You walk into a space, and their mental maps begin to fracture. Their probability models glitch. Their sense of control evaporates. You exist in a place between hyper-awareness and complete detachment, orbiting the situation even while appearing fully engaged. And they, trained, certified, world-class, can only watch. They don't understand how someone moves like this without formal instruction, without conditioning, without years of institutional training. They wonder what kind of past forged a person into this rare, unassailable presence. They realize that whatever formed you, it cannot be learned. It can only be endured, only be survived. Your body language is not unusual. It is adaptive. It is evolved. It is the armor of someone who has been broken and rebuilt in ways textbooks cannot describe. You are no longer recognizable as prey. You are your own law. And here is the truth of what happens when you enter a room. Observers, always observers, whether you notice them or not, find their focus sharpening involuntarily. Their subconscious signals danger, anomaly, difference. You are not moving wrong. You are moving outside their probability zones, comfortable in positions that should feel unnatural, gesturing in ways that contradict the emotions you allow yourself to display, existing in a strange rhythm of stillness and purpose that communicates readiness for things they cannot even see coming. They analyze, they break down, categorize, attempt to solve a puzzle that doesn't exist. They drive themselves into exhaustion, reviewing mental checklists, connecting dots, and ultimately failing. They don't understand that there is no puzzle, because you are not performing. You are simply being. Your frequency is tuned to something entirely alien to them, a wavelength they were never designed to measure. That is why every social misfit moment in your life, the awkward pauses, the stares, the quiet dinners, the moments they couldn't explain, was never a flaw. It was evolution. You were unreadable to people whose sense of safety depends on predictability. You were triggering what scientists call the uncanny valley. They sensed, without conscious thought, that your internal operating system differs fundamentally from theirs. They interpreted it as anxiety, shyness, eccentricity, or introversion. But what it was, in truth, was your nervous system, upgraded, accelerated, evolved beyond ordinary human expectation. You invented a language of movement and silence that protects, observes, and calculates. You learned to survive in circumstances that would have shattered anyone else. You learned to read, to anticipate, to exist invisibly while simultaneously dominating every space you occupy. What they see when they watch you closely is extraordinary. You do not lean in when expected. Do not lean back when expected. Do not show micro-expressions on cue. You maintain posture, breathing, and hand placement in ways that suggest readiness for outcomes they cannot predict. You exist in tension and calm simultaneously. You map sight lines, calculate positions, and yet appear utterly casual. You hold silence without flinching, allowing the room to exist in its own chaotic rhythm while your mind measures every pulse, every change in contradictions, space invasions, and withdrawal. They attempt to make you reveal your truth involuntarily, but you do not falter. You absorb, you breathe, you respond only from your center, from a calm they cannot reach. And in doing so, you shatter their assumptions. You reveal the limits of what they were taught to believe about humanity. They do not know what to do with someone whose control is born not of study, but of survival, of experience, of evolution. They cannot locate the training manual for a soul like yours. Your heart rate, your pupils, your breathing, your micro-expressions. They are not accidents or lies. They are refined instruments of observation, of control, of survival. You have mastered emotional regulation to such a degree that you can feel everything yet reveal nothing, or reveal exactly what serves your purpose in the moment. You are not a sociopath. You are not a psychopath. You are the next stage of human awareness, someone forged to operate beyond the expected, someone whose presence alone bends reality. Think about every moment you were told you were too intense, too quiet, too distant, too much, too sharp, or too sensitive. Every reaction you were accused of, every whispered complaint, every sideways glance, every social misfit tag applied to you, it was never a flaw. It was the recognition that your internal calibration exceeds theirs. Your frequency is foreign. Your energy is both a mirror and a shield. It exposes weaknesses they thought hidden, insecurities they refused to confront, truths they denied even to themselves. You are a truth serum in human form, and the discomfort of others is the natural consequence of encountering someone untouchable, unhackable, unpredicted, and unbroken. You do not need to speak to expose them. You do not need to act to set the universe in motion. Your existence alone alters the dynamics of the space around you, and it terrifies those who depend on predictability for their security. And now, chosen one, here is where it turns from observation to revelation. The world, the people around you, the systems that tried to control or manipulate you, they all underestimate what you've already done simply by existing. They thought they were playing you. They didn't realize that you built the board they were playing on. You let them move their pieces, think they were winning, while every step they took was anticipated, absorbed, and cataloged in a pattern of strategy they could never comprehend. You allowed them the illusion of control. You let them expose themselves. You allowed them to believe the game was theirs, while in truth it was always yours. You don't need revenge. You don't need validation. The universe itself bows to the quiet alignment of your awareness, and in that, justice unfolds without you ever lifting a finger. That is your mastery. That is your gift. That is what makes you the chosen one, and the world slowly must learn to reckon with you. But here's what they cannot see, cannot measure, cannot begin to fathom. Your mastery is not just in your movements, your pauses, your silence. It is in the spaces between thoughts, the fraction of a second before you act, the invisible currents that swirl wherever your presence settles. You do not merely exist in a room, you occupy its entire frequency. Every surface, every sound, every glance bends subtly to your awareness. People unconsciously recalibrate themselves around you, even as they think they are controlling the environment, and they are not. They are dancing on the edges of a reality you already own. This is why they whisper about you behind closed doors. This is why they catalog every nuance, every expression, every misstep, in an attempt to understand what cannot be explained. Their manuals fail because you are not human in the ordinary sense. You are evolved. You are the product of situations that would have broken most, circumstances that would have shattered the body, mind, and spirit of anyone else, leaving them predictable, moldable, ordinary. But not you. You emerged from the fires, tempered, sharpened, and awake. You did not merely survive, you transcended. And now you operate on a plane where they cannot reach you, a dimension of awareness that is both terrifying and magnetic, invisible yet palpable, undeniable yet undefinable. Every glance they cast, every unspoken calculation, every instinctive movement they make in your presence is being mirrored, amplified, and recorded, not in a notebook, not in a database, but in the invisible ledger of your consciousness. You catalog patterns effortlessly, not because you study them, but because your perception has been trained by necessity. You do not miss micro-expressions, subtle shifts in tone, slight deviations in posture, the milliseconds of hesitation or acceleration that betray the inner workings of intent. They think they are hiding their truths. They do not realize that in your presence, truth has no shadow. Your mind is not merely aware, it is anticipatory. You see the ripple before it hits the water. You know the trajectory of intention before it is even fully formed. Every interaction is a landscape, every conversation, a map. You do not stumble through it. You glide, you navigate, you dominate without effort. And those who cannot measure your depth label you as intense, unapproachable, strange, or worse, threatening. They cannot speak of it in plain terms because it frightens them. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to the impossible clarity with which you perceive them and to the unspoken authority that radiates from your stillness. And make no mistake, this is not arrogance. You are not loud or boisterous because you do not need to be. Your power is silent, invisible, and self-contained. It is the quiet that unsettles, the calm that intimidates, the patience that outlasts all attempts at deception. They will try to confuse you, to provoke you, to manipulate you, but their chaos does not reach you. You observe it, process it, and respond only when it aligns with the strategy that already exists in your mind. You are always several steps ahead, and they are dancing on a board you built, unaware that the game has never been theirs to play. And yet, here is the beauty. While they fear, you learn. While they scramble, you adapt. While they manipulate, you read. You translate the invisible. You decode the unspoken. You navigate currents that others cannot even perceive. Every slight misstep they make, every half-truth they utter, every attempt to hide behind charm or authority only enriches your understanding, sharpens your awareness, and reinforces the invisible armor that surrounds your essence. You are a predator in plain sight, yet your prey is not the weak. It is ignorance. It is deception. It is illusion itself. And in this, you are unstoppable. Consider this. Every moment you have been underestimated, every time someone laughed at your silence or misread you are not reacting to circumstances, you are sculpting them. You do not merely read people. You understand the structures beneath them, the subtle architecture of thought and instinct, the hidden foundations of behavior that they themselves are only partially aware of. This is why you unsettle even the trained. They sense that your perception cannot be shaken, that your understanding is beyond their tools, beyond their equations, beyond their frameworks. And now, let's go deeper. Your power extends beyond observation and anticipation. It manifests in energy, in presence, in the invisible signals that radiate from your alignment with yourself. People feel it before they see it. They sense the confidence that does not need validation, the certainty that does not need explanation, the calm that does not require agreement. They adjust themselves instinctively around it. They hesitate, they falter, they miscalculate, and every misstep they make, every crack that shows in their composure is a revelation of the underlying truths they spend their entire lives hiding from, truths they cannot control when faced with you. Your silence is not absence, it is a force. Your stillness is not weakness, it is authority. Your gaze does not intimidate because it is sharp, it intimidates because it is aware. Every fraction of a second you choose not to react is a demonstration of control they cannot achieve. Every carefully measured movement, every micro-adjustment in posture, every subtle nuance in timing communicates mastery that words could never convey. They see it, they feel it, and they fear it, because for the first time they are in the presence of someone who refuses to be predictable, someone whose very being is a law unto itself. And the irony is delicious. They will call you manipulative, calculating, even dangerous. But they do not understand that your manipulation is not for selfish gain. It is for protection, for clarity, for equilibrium. You align yourself with truth, not deceit. You shape reality around necessity, not whim. You maintain control, not to dominate, but to preserve integrity. And yet, in doing so, you become untouchable, undeniable, unavoidable. And the beauty, chosen one, is that you have done all of this without needing to announce it. You did not train to be a weapon. You were forged into one by circumstance, by survival, by the crucible of experiences that would have left others fractured, fearful, and compliant. You have walked through fire and emerged whole, your senses sharpened, your mind precise, your spirit untamed. You are the storm contained, the silence that commands, the observer who is never blind. Now imagine them watching you now, in this very moment. They are scribbling notes they will never understand. They are compiling files that will never capture the essence of you. Their manuals, their algorithms, their entire understanding of human behavior fails in your presence. They try to predict you, to measure you, to categorize you, and all they find is the impossible, someone alive, aware, awake, unbroken, operating on a plane they cannot even perceive. Every reaction they try to provoke, every trick they attempt, every subtle manipulation, they fail, because you exist beyond it. Because the world, in all its structure, cannot contain your magnitude. And this is your truth. You are not alone in this. There are others, rare like you, walking unseen among the ordinary, each carrying a presence that bends reality, each an untold story of survival and mastery. And yet, even without them, your power stands, undeniable and complete. Your energy alone reshapes every space you enter. Your awareness quietly alters dynamics that others spend entire lifetimes trying to command. And the more they attempt to control, the clearer your mastery becomes. So rise, chosen one. Move through this world knowing that your very presence is a force of nature, silent yet sovereign, a law that even the learned must respect. Every glance, every breath, every deliberate pause you make is a signal beyond their comprehension, proof of your evolution, a testament to your survival. You exist beyond the ordinary, beyond the trained, beyond the predictable. And slowly, the world must learn, not merely to see you, but to understand that its systems were never designed to contain someone like you. When they whisper, observe, or measure and still fail to define you, let them. Their confusion, their unease, their fear is the truest recognition of your truth. Let them record, discuss, and analyze. Meanwhile, continue as you always have, aware, grounded, untouchable, and untamed. For the quiet mastery you embody is the rarest power of all, unseen, precise, and entirely your own. You do not require their approval. You do not seek their understanding. You need only your awareness, your presence, your alignment with truth itself. And that is enough. Because when the world finally grasps the magnitude of what you are, it will not resist. It will not negotiate. It will simply pause and bow before the storm that has always lived within you. The storm that bends the air, shifts the gravity, and rewrites reality to the rhythm of your will.